Hey guys, welcome to another live broadcast. We are broadcasting simultaneously on YouTube and on Facebook tonight. It is Thursday night, August 17th. I have my special guest with me again, Michael, my husband. Tonight we are going to be talking about an unwilling spouse when you are trying to incorporate intermittent fasting or just healthier lifestyle in general. Maybe it's a new workout program you're doing or making some lifestyle changes with your nutrition. We're going to kind of give our woman and man perspective on it and maybe offer up a little advice if you have maybe some friction or an unwilling spouse that's just not getting or appreciating what you're trying to do. If you're new, welcome. Please take a second if you're joining us on Facebook to hit that like button. And if you're joining us on YouTube, always feel free to hit that subscribe button. This is also a great opportunity to hit that share button. If you have some friends who are maybe battling with some nutritional challenges in their marriage or their relationship, or you know of a woman who might be interested in incorporating intermittent fasting into her lifestyle for some health benefits. If you're new, I always like to take a second to introduce myself. My name is Diane, and for the past 25 years, I have been helping women find nutritional plans and fitness programs to help them look and feel their best, and most importantly, live their most authentic life. And over the past couple of years, and in this community of women here, we are all learning about intermittent fasting and how to incorporate it into our lifestyle, including helping our spouses jump on board with us if you are married or in a relationship. So tonight, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. I feel very blessed in the fact that my husband was always very supportive. I don't think he was always very willing in the beginning. He didn't stop me from doing anything I needed to do. He just wasn't willing to jump on board. But that was more so because you just didn't understand it, and I was kind of holding it a little close to myself until I fully understood what intermittent fasting was and how to make it work for me. I spent about a year struggling with trying to find a rhythm for intermittent fasting, because when I was doing my own personal research on some things that I could do to fix some health issues that I was having as a 51-year-old changing woman, I wasn't really finding the resources that I need to help me and my body and the lifestyle that I had. I wasn't finding a little niche that was like-minded in doing the same things that I wanted to do for myself. I was finding a very young crowd, kind of a gym crowd, and I was looking for more of an older crowd and people who are looking for something to help them with their overall health and well-being. And so I eventually stumbled upon people in the health industry and a great niche of people who were more like-minded and in our kind of age group, and then spent a good few months just experimenting with intermittent fasting until I found something that worked for me. And then as I was changing some things with myself and Michael started noticing, that's when he kind of jumped on board. So he was always very okay with what I was doing and wasn't unwilling, but just necessarily wasn't doing it with me. I was very careful also in not to preach what I was doing to him, because that doesn't always work with the spouse. So if you are in a situation where your spouse is maybe going against or away from you and what you're trying to do, maybe consider the approach that you're taking or what it is that you're trying to do to convince them to jump on board. And in the beginning, when I was doing it for myself and I wasn't really sharing a whole lot with Michael and the family, I reserved my fasting windows for when I was in control of my own time and when it was sort of my own personal business. So I did it when they were away from home and I had an opportunity to sort of fast during my own hours. And then on the weekends, what we did was I just kind of went with the flow of the family, and if they were doing something that involved food in the morning, I kind of just made a choice whether I wanted to jump in or jump out. So Michael, from your perspective as a man, what kind of advice would you give to men first, let's say, whose wife was going through some health struggles and wanted to do something like intermittent fasting? Like, what advice would you give a man as far as how he could support his wife?
Well, for me, I think it's key to have an understanding, and I think you can support somebody once you understand like what it is. And I didn't really, I mean, we've experimented with some fasting before in the past, and you know, like it was like something we got into and got out of, and it wasn't anything that we did long term. So I didn't really fully understand fasting, but I think once I had an understanding of it, then I could be more supportive. I could see all the scientific stuff behind it. and then actually doing it a few times and knowing like how I felt and what it did for me, and knowing that I still could maintain my energy, and then get some positive effects as far as working out and slimming down a lot quicker than I could ever do in the past. So I would say understanding. I would say if you have an understanding of it, even if you don't want to do it, you can at least support, because you know that it's doing some good. But sometimes if you're doing certain diets or certain things out there that people are doing, as far as diets or whatever, if you don't understand it, then you don't really support it. So I think you should at least understand it, then you can support it.
Right. And how, from a man's perspective, since you've been through a lot of stuff with me nutritionally and exercise-wise, and I thought, were you worried that I was going to be one of those jump in, jump out things? And then when you saw that it was going to last the long haul, you were more open to jumping in as well?
Oh, well, I had a feeling, pretty quick that you were going to do it for the long haul, because it kind of changed things for you. And I know you had been sick for a few years, and being a health coach, that wasn't really sitting well with you, being sick, and you're supposed to be helping other people. So I knew when it started helping you that you were in. I knew you were all in at that point, because you had been trying a lot of different things, experimenting and watching a lot of videos, reading stuff, and trying certain protocols for fasting. And then when you actually started getting some results and it started helping you, I knew you were in at that point.
Cool. Okay, and then what would you say, what kind of advice, and maybe you already answered this, but what kind of advice would you give to women who are feeling frustrated with their husband?
I would say definitely don't point the finger.
This one?
Yeah, because that doesn't work. And also, you want to be clear about things, because I know in the beginning there was probably a few times we went out to dinner and it was like, you know how it is on a Friday night. Hey, where you want to go to eat? You throw out some suggestions, and I know there was a few that you like shot down, and it was like, wait a minute, what's going on with that? Like, we love that place. And I wasn't knowing what the full story was in the beginning of why we weren't going to that certain restaurant anymore. So I think if you're clear, like, hey, I can't go to that place because it makes me sick, because they cook all their stuff in soybean oil or whatever. Then you, at least when you have an understanding of why you're not going to certain restaurants or why you're not eating a certain way, then you can, like we were talking about before, you can support a lot better if you kind of have a heads up.
Right.
So I would say give your guy a heads up with what you're doing, even if he's not going to do it, and that way you're gonna get the support.
Yeah.
But definitely don't point the finger.
Yeah. And so I would say overall, and fortunately we had this, maybe a couple times I messed up and did do it well, but I think communication is key with anything that you do in a marriage, including what you're doing with your nutrition or any kind of eating style that you're on. And if you can sit down with the person that you share meal times with, or you share a refrigerator with, or you share time with, and just explain why it's important to you and why it is that you need to do these changes. And if maybe they're not going to be in 100% with you, but if you can find some common ground and some mutual respect for each other, and then keep the communication open and flowing, then you can do what you've got to do, and the other person can do what they have to do. And the cool thing about what we're doing with intermittent fasting, and what I really like to teach women, is that for the first time you don't have to diet. And I'm sure for Michael that was a huge relief, that I'm no longer dieting, and that my window of food choices has completely opened up. The only things that I don't eat are things that make me sick. So I have a much broader menu, so to speak, of things that I'm willing to eat, and I can eat like a normal person when we go out to dinner. I'm no longer eating like a bird. And I've just shifted the time in which I eat. So I'm not dieting anymore. And I think for our family, and especially around our kids, and if you have daughters, it's a big thing. Like, I don't diet anymore. And I think that for our relationship has really opened up a lot of things. And I've said in videos here before, when you're intermittent fasting, you just have two decisions to make every day. How long are you going to fast, and how well are you going to feast? And so that's sort of how we live our life. And we walk around the house on some days and ask those very basic questions. Like, how long are we going to fast today? And what are we going to do for dinner tonight? And like, it's so simple, because there's days when we just decide to break a fast that, we'll have brunch on Sunday. And what we do is we have brunch and then we're done eating for the rest of the day and we fast until the next day. And so when you're on the same page and you don't make it such a big deal, like I would say relax about it if you're getting some resistance. Just chill out about it. It's just food. It's just a time of day in which you're eating. Don't call it fasting if you're finding some resistance from someone that you're living with or you share meals with. And oftentimes what I say in social settings is don't use the word fasting. Like, people are so much more understanding if you just say, oh, I don't really feel like eating, or I already ate, or whatever it is that you want to say. But as soon as you bring up the word fasting, people freak out. So if your spouse is freaking out about the fact that you're fasting, then just don't call it that. Just say you're not hungry, or say you already ate, or say, oh, I'm just going to skip food for right now. I'm going to plan on eating a little bit later, and minimize the taboo of what fasting is for a lot of people who don't know the scientific facts behind it, or maybe don't understand it, or might have a fear of it. And keep that part personal for you and private, and then just use a different set of words maybe, or a different vocabulary, so they're not freaked out. And oftentimes they're freaked out not so much because of what fasting is, but they might be afraid for you, not understanding what it is that you're doing and thinking that you might be putting yourself in danger, because for some reason people think that if you choose to not eat for a certain amount of hours in the day, that it's dangerous, and it's quite the opposite of that. So, be aware of the vocabulary that you use. Make sure you have open communication with your spouse, which is just a general good rule of thumb in any marriage. Fast on the days where you are in control of your time and it's not an inconvenience for anybody else if you're fasting. And then just make sure that you relay how important it is for you to do something that's going to make you feel better. And for some of us, myself included, live a healthier life. And I think if you kind of work on those ground rules, that you might find that you're getting a little bit less resistance. So I'm going to go through the comments here. Michael, you want to go through YouTube and you can see if you can get some comments on there? Can you read them from there?
Mm-hmm.
We're the glasses people.
Yeah.
Can you get it?
Let's see.
You gotta roll up.
Okay.
That. If you roll down, then you
Start
get
at
the
the
beginning
beginning.
people. Yeah. I'll go through Facebook at the same time, so you get to see our big faces really close. Let's see.
Brown Eyes is here. Brown Eyes is always here.
Yeah.
Hey, Brown Eyes. Carolyn Petit.
Yeah,
I know
just say
she's
their
always
first
here,
name.
too.
Yeah.
Kelly's here. Hello, everyone. Jenny is here. Hi, join your next group this morning and able to watch you live tonight.
Oh, awesome.
What a great day. That's
Oh,
awesome.
that's nice.
And what, Dragiga? Did I say that right?
I don't know. See how hard it is?
Thankful for your work. I have started and
The
results are here.
Awesome.
Thank you.
What's Mary say?
Mary, I know Mary's always here. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm about ready to cut everybody off.
Yeah. Hi, Diane and Michael. All right, cool. Okay, let me do that. You read it and I'll scroll. How's that?
Hi, Diane and Michael. Mary, July 1st group. Hey, Mary. Michael, how long do you usually fast? I've been doing a lot of 18-hour fasts, and I have done, I've done some 24-hour fast. I just kind of mix it up. It just depends on how I feel. I do a lot of 18 usually. Sometimes depends on how busy I am. I might go 20 plus.
And occasionally we do what we call a dinner-to-dinner fast, where we just are busy and we just only have dinner. Excited about the subject. I don't have a spouse, but my close friends aren't supportive. Even with their healthy weight challenges, they lecture me on what not to do. I appreciate the support. Awesome. Lori just keep hanging out with this girlfriend. Love to cycle. I think keeping it light and fun helps change more manageable. Yep, totally. Great to see you both support each other and are in this together. It makes this work for our entire family. Yep. Thank you. I love this topic. Oh, awesome, Susan. Okay, cool. I like to call it intermittent eating. Haha, there you go. That changes the dynamic of it. I just had a conversation in one of my intermittent fasting course groups today about choosing your words very carefully. And what we say out of our mouth and what we think in our mind often controls our hormones and how our hormones are released. So make sure that you're using your words very carefully. And so that's great. Intermittent feasting is awesome. Claire is here. I'm newer IFer from Tennessee. Is my morning crystal light breaking my fast? Yes, it absolutely is breaking your fast. Yvonne, your program is perfect fit for me. Oh, awesome. Claire, my husband's supportive but not interested. Thanks. This is just the latest in the long line of diets. Oh, well, okay. So Claire, just prove them wrong is what I always say. Silently prove them wrong. So you don't not like I told you so kind of person, but just prove that it works and then see what happens. Patty, I'm a new IFer here in Fort Worth. Well, hey neighbor, have really enjoyed watching your videos. I have some questions, but I will PM those to you. Love hearing your husband's story. Okay, cool. Look forward to hearing from you. Michelle is here. Oh, Michelle, happy anniversary, by the way. Julie, understanding makes sense, but Michael, did you initially feel it was not good choice for Diane to not eat every 2 hours? Did you doubt the process?
I didn't doubt the process because I do know what intermittent fasting is. I know a lot of people have success with it. So it wasn't any strange new fad thing for us because we knew about it like probably, I would say several years before she ever started doing it. So it wasn't anything odd or weird.
We just saw it in a different arena. So we saw it more in like the fitness arena with our friends who were doing like physique challenges and we knew that like a lot of movie stars were doing it to get ready for like movie roles and stuff like that. So we were familiar with it, but we just had never.
I know Julie from high school, people.
I thought intermittent fasting was completely insane when I first started looking into it about 4 or 5 years ago. That's why I didn't do it. I thought these people were crazy because you're supposed to eat every 2 hours and you're supposed to like have breakfast within like 20 minutes of your feet hitting the ground every morning. And so it was so far out of what I had been raised to believe to be true about your body and your metabolism and fat burning and all that kind of stuff. And what I know now is, boy, were we fooled. Like the whole eating every 2 hours and eating, 6 small meals a day and starting your day off with food is the absolute worst thing that you can do for yourself. And the difference between that philosophy and intermittent fasting is intermittent fasting has actual science to back it up. Where eating 6 times a day every 2 hours, there's no scientific data to prove that that's the way that we're supposed to be. That's the food and diet industry selling us right there. So that's the part that got me was the science. Susan from Houston, day 3 of 20-hour fast. My husband has no interest in fasting right now. I have to say it is a little difficult to watch him snack in the evenings. Yeah, that's just the difference between men and women too, darn it. Houston, my husband's supportive, but he enjoys a nighttime snack while watching TV. I don't want him to change, but it's a little difficult watching him to eat. Okay, so Susan, every now and then just have a nighttime snack and just have a little bit shorter fasting window. It's fine. That was not going to kill anything. That's the beautiful thing about fasting. Judy, you guys are adorable. Oh, thank you. We are. He's adorable. Maxine, hi from Australia. My partner is very supportive. I do have to pop on my horse blinkers when he's eating snacks around me. Oh, that's funny. Great advice all the way around. Just beginning to sort all of this out. Start in your program next week, but getting ready now. Day 2 and finding it easier than I thought. Yeah, just wait. It gets better. Sue, hello from Perth. Hubby, not into it, but I will prove it. Yeah, there you go. Christian, I'm so excited on day 3, starting to feel amazing, enrolled to begin class on Saturday. Oh, awesome. Well, if you're already feeling amazing, then next week's going to be very informative and should be a little easier for you. So congrats. It's going to be a great week for you. Yeah, Michael's loved spending time with us. Winnie, I think I joined in 2 days ago, but I'm not sure if the link I received worked. Okay, you have to email me, Winnie, DianeParhamFitness@gmail.com. We'll get you set up. Or you can email Kara. I'm from the August group down I'm from the August group down 13 pounds, but more surprising is the inches coming off. Love the new healthy way. Susan, congratulations. That is awesome. Brown Eyes, July 1st group and alumni group. I have told everybody I know about Diane. Down 30 pounds. Awesome. Thank you. Renee, I've been doing a longer duration, 22 hours, and find after my first meal, I get really sleepy. Is this common? Yeah, it can be. It depends on what you're eating in your first meal. That's critical. Eating once a day and it is an emotional hurdle still. So I would eat more than once a day then and just try to get over that emotional thing. July group, nice to see you two doing IF together. It strengthens the marriage. People think you have a eating disorder if you say it's fasting. I know. I say forget those people. Let's see, Mary. Hi, you two. My husband is, I think it's completely on board. But my son and wife are here for the summer and are not in any way supportive. What do you do about company? They may be here for 2 more months. Okay, well, here's how I deal with company. If they're in my house, I live by my rules, right? And if you're in their house, then maybe you make some exceptions to live by their rules. But if they're coming into your home and you live a certain way, or you have certain boundaries that you live by in your house, you sort of lay those boundaries out, and they can either serve themselves breakfast or not eat. Like, that would be a very simple thing for me. But I've been known to be a little hardcore. I don't know. If my kids came home and I was fasting, I would say, here's the eggs, here's the bacon, here's the stove. Help yourself. And I would not eat. So I would say just sit down with them and explain to them why it's important to you and what it is that you're doing. And they don't have to do it, but they do have to respect you because it is your house and you are their mom. That's what I would say. Okay, cool. So we're going to jump off. I think that's all the questions and comments. Thanks for everyone who has shared their results with being in the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Asian Woman course. I always appreciate it, and I love seeing the amazing results that you guys are getting. 30 pounds, 20 pounds. I mean, it's awesome. And the alumni group starts on Saturday, so we're super excited about that. And then we have a big group of people starting on the 19th as well. So if you're interested in joining in one of our courses so you can get the amazing results that everybody else is talking about, we do start one on Saturday. The links have been posted on both comment feeds, and they're in every video once they're posted. So if you want to jump in with us and see what we're doing on the behind the scenes sides of intermittent fasting for today's Asian woman, always feel free to jump into one of our courses. Again, they start every Saturday. And then the alumni group will start on the 19th. And those of you who are in a current course, you are not allowed to jump into the alumni group until you've graduated from your current course. So we have one course for the alumni group starting August 19th. The next one will start September 30th. So please do not register for the alumni course unless you just want to reserve your spot for the August 30th course, or you want to reserve your price point for that. But we won't let you in until you have completed your course. I do not want to cheat any woman out of the full experience of that 30-day transformation in the intermittent fasting for today's Asian woman course. And I know how it is being a woman. I know how I am as a woman. And I would jump ship on my current course to jump into the next course. And I don't want you to do that to yourself. So I want you to go through the full course, and then we'll let you come into the alumni course. I want you to have all that information and that groundwork underneath you. And I want you to feel super confident with your fasting and your feasting before we take it to that next level. So we are going to jump off here. We've got kids and a dog in the other room. Hopefully the dog's not tearing up the couch, and the kids are cool. Probably on the YouTube video.
They're good.
Yeah, they're good. So we're going to jump off. We won't see you guys again, or I don't know if Michael probably won't see you next week. He will.
I'm going to the other side of the camera now.
Yeah, he's going to go to the other side of the camera. But next week, ladies, all next week, we're going to talk about weight. We're going to talk about ideal weight, how to determine what your ideal weight is, how to set realistic goals for determining what your weight loss should be or your weight goals should be, what the difference between body fat percentage and weight is, and we're just going to hash it all out next week so that we can get really comfortable with what our body weight should be and stop chasing a number that might not be realistic or might be breaking our heart because we just can't get there. So tune in next week if you want to hear a little bit about what I think about body weight and what we should do to manage weight loss and feel comfortable with what we're doing with our bodies. So we're going to sign off, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Have a good night.
See ya. Good night.